There we go. Hi. Welcome to the Cornerstone Youth YouTube channel. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah. We're glad that you're here. This channel is going to be a lot of things. There's going to be artistic stuff. There's going to be funny stuff. I had a video planned for today. I wrote you a song, and it went like this.
You can do inside. One of you can see and one of you can hide. Throw a funeral for your hamster that died. Learn all the words to chicken fried. Read you by.
But in light of everything that happened yesterday, it just didn't seem right to start out with something like that. You'll see it. It will go up. It will be on this channel. But I figured the best thing I could give you right now would be to sit down with you and me and a cup of tea. And it's actually my favorite tea. It's called Sleigh Ride by David's Tea. And just kind of talk and tell you a story. Now, I'm actually going to tell you two stories. Look out. So the first story you've probably heard before. Now, this isn't like me telling you a story like a Wednesday night, because this is me in my living room with a camera and some lighting and a microphone. And it's just, I can't, if I move, I will go out of focus. And I worked too hard to get this camera to focus. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Even a different shirt, because it took that long that I had to wait until the next day. It's fine. It's fine. Anyway, so I'm going to tell you a story. It's a story you've heard before, but now you'll have it forever if you ever want to come back to it and laugh about it. And then you and I can laugh together. Yeah. So, when I was young, I played the xylophone by choice. I was in like 5th grade and they were like, pick an instrument. And I was like, the bells. And so it was Cassie and her bells. And my bells were like enormous. Like when I say the xylophone, I mean the xylophone. I mean like. This is actually what I cut my hand on that one time. That's why I have a Franken hand. So I played the bells, but they were huge. Like they came up to my 6th grade hips. And I had to take them home every day to practice because we had band every single day. And so I would drag them home, and they had this like wheelie. I really hope you can't hear the landscaping that's going on outside, but if you can, you and I are going to work past it together. Anyway, so I'd have to wheel it home every day to practice. And so it was like me and this big wheelie case and like my backpack. And I had a house key because my sister was in high school, but I was still in middle school, right? And so it was lit because it was like, ooh, yeah, that's right. Look out. Cassie rides the bus by herself now. Responsibility? Who is she? But even now at 25, I have a Bluetooth tracker on my keys because I lose them. Premonition. And I never peed at school. Mostly because there was this really cool girl who was like, ew, school bathrooms, I never use them. And I was like, she doesn't use the bathroom, I won't use the bathroom. She doesn't pee. I wonder if she poops at home. Probably not. And so it was like, obviously, if you use the bathroom at school, you're going to get the coronavirus. Even in 6th grade, I knew about it. And it was like, right, don't want the Rona, so not going to go to the bathroom at school. And so I would hold it every single day until like the end of the day, right? And then when I got home, I would come home and just like explode. And it was perfect, sort of, but not. And so this particular day in history, I had my bells and I had my everything and I was ready to go, like getting on the bus with my little bells and everything. And I was confident that my key was in my backpack. Anyway, so I get to school, right, and everything's fine, and I don't go to the bathroom all day, even though I'm drinking water throughout the day because I'm, thirsty gal. And I get home, right, and the emergency sets in the instant my foot leaves the bus. And it's like, and I start like, not sprinting, but like speed walking home, because you can't run with these bells behind you. At some point, they're behind me, right, and then they're just not. My instincts allowed my hands to release them in a way that I was not even aware of. And so I am running home now. I've dropped the bells. They'll come back later, maybe, eventually. But anyway, anyway, I am going. We are booking it to make it our way home. I rifle through the backpack, through my jacket pockets, everything. My parents won't be home for like an hour and a half, but they're smart people. So they gave our next door neighbor a key to our house just in case this kind of thing happened. That'll become important. I rifle through the backpack. There's obviously like books and stuff, but there's no key in there. And I can see the key on the kitchen table from where I am standing at the back door. So I start trying windows because once this worked. Big brain. And so I start trying all the windows, right? And I'm going around to all of them and I'm trying to open them and none of them will open. And so I relent and I go to Cookie's house. That's her name. Her name is Cookie. Let's let that sink in for a second. Her name is Cookie. And this woman has mammoth cankles. And she's like old. Like, not like old. Like, she's like old, right? And she's got these enormous cankles, right? And she's always baking cookies and you can always smell them, but no one comes to her house. Like, I have yet to see a car in the driveway. Nothing. Like, the only car there is hers. But, like, she's always making cookies. And they're not to share. You don't get cankles like that. You don't get thick like that. That's probably rude. They're probably right there. You don't get thick like that making cookies for other people. And mind you, she lives next to a high schooler and a middle schooler who love cookies, would deeply enjoy them. But did I get any? No. So, she, in all of her infinite wisdom, I go to her door, right? And I'm knocking, and I'm knocking, and I'm knocking. And she shuffles to the door. I can see her through the window at her house. She shuffles to the door. And she gets there, and she's like, hey, what's going on? And I'm in, like, 6th grade, like, about to be in 7th, and I am high-pitched as all get out. Hi, I just, like, really need to go to the bathroom, and, like, I can't find the key to my house, and I know my parents gave you a key to our house, so if I can get the key to our house from you, that'd be great. And then she, like, okay. And it's literally, you've seen the movie Zootopia, right? Where, like, the sloth is moving in slow motion to the point where it gives you anxiety even though you're not even in the film. Yes, it's that kind of moment. As she turns to shuffle to the other side of the room where she keeps the key. Now, if you knew that the only time I would come to get the key is in a state of emergency, why wouldn't you keep it in the cabinet right next to the door? Because that would be too convenient. So she shuffles across the room to get the key. Gets it. Turns in slow motion. And now everything turns to slow motion. As anger radiates through my body. A heat with the white-hot intensity of 1,000 suns. Of why would you not keep the key on the side of the room where I would need it? And then I feel the anger start to travel south. And then the anger is moving down my legs. And I realize I've peed my pants now on this woman's steps. And she also realizes, and I'm not done yet, so I'm still actively peeing my pants as this woman turns with the key and locks eyes with me. She shuffles back over to me, hands me the key, looks down. Shame and slight embarrassment on my behalf in her eyes. And I take the key and I boldly walk away. And I go back to my house and I take the shower of shame. Now, if you've never taken a shower of shame, like if you don't immediately shower after peeing your pants, you're a psychopath and we're not friends. Like there's something wrong with you. And so I take the shower and then I remember that my bells are still outside. And I need to give this key back. Speaking of, I actually need to give a key back in my real life right now. But that's not the point. So, I go outside and I can see, like, where she's hosing down her steps. And so I'm like, I'm going to give this a minute. And I go back inside. And I go out front and retrieve my bells and return the key a couple of days later. So, I really hope you can't hear all the lawn mowing going on right outside of my door. So, there you have it. That story, if you ever wanted it forever. I'm going to tell you a second story, just one other quick story. When I was in about 10th grade, I was going through a darker season. I can't really call it depression because I didn't go to the doctor or counseling or anything like that. And if you're experiencing kind of what I experienced, you should go to the doctor. Maybe the doctor or a counselor, or talk to somebody, an adult you trust, me. Yeah. And so I would sit in the dark for long periods of time. I got a lot of like migraines and stuff like that. And it was like, it just felt better to sit in the dark. And there was no particular event on this particular day, particular, that brought this on, but it was just kind of like, I got home from school, and I think like a boy didn't like me or something like that. Very common experience for young Cassie. And I just kind of got home, and it was like, all right, I'm just going to sit in the dark for a while, and that's going to be fine. And I was in our dining room, which is upstairs from the front door. So my mom comes in the front door after work, and she comes in and she sees her child sitting in the dark, and she looks at me and she's like, "What's wrong with you?" And I kind of like, I think I might have depression, but I don't know. And there's these flowers that are on the table, and they're roses, and they're like dead. Like no one's tried to care for them. They were a couple of weeks old and stuff like that. And she's like, "You see those? Those are wilted. That's what depression looks like. It's wilting." And she didn't know how to deal with it at the time, which makes a ton of sense. And it was kind of like, it wasn't out of nowhere, but it was like, I didn't anticipate having this conversation right now. And so I just kind of put my head back down, and she turned out the light and walked away. And she comes back a while later, and she's like, "Hey, let's go shopping, hop in the car." And so we get in the car, and I'm like, yes, my sadness finally pays off. I'm getting a shopping spree. So we go to my very favorite store at the time, not now. I'm an adult now. And we go to Forever 21, and I'm picking up all this stuff. And she's like, "Pick up whatever you want." And we're like going to try it on and stuff. And she finds one shirt that's like a pink shirt that says hope on it. And she's like, lets me try on everything, but tells me to try on that. And she's like, "Okay, this is the only thing we're going to get, because this is what you need right now. This is what you need to remember right now." And so we walk out of the store, and she references it forever as my hope shirt. And it just really helped. Not because like I have a new pink shirt, like everything's fine now, but it was really helpful to know that like my mom saw me and knew me and loved me enough to step in and do something. It just meant so much to me and reminded me that not only do I have hope, it's not hope that's written in an ancient text. It's not hope that's deterred or scared of what I'm feeling. It's hope that lasts. And it's hope that's living. It's hope that's living and active. And that's what you have. I know a lot of you right now are grieving the loss of your senior year, or the loss of time that you thought that you'd have, or loss of the rest of your show choir season, your soccer season, your track season, the end of the year. And it's okay to grieve, and it's okay not to be okay, and it is totally normal. But I want you to remember that you do have hope. This is not the end. This might be the end of this season, but this isn't the end for you. God has so much more in store for you that you can't even imagine right now. And he's not a God who's shuffling to the other side of the room very slowly, not seeing your need and not seeing your pain, and not seeing your issue, and not shuffling back to you with, like anything less. He's a God who gives good gifts to his children because he's a good father. And he's not looking at your failure. He's not looking at your loss. He's not looking at where you're at right now with pity or shame or anything like that. He's a God of empathy. He's with you. So I just wanted to come on here and have a cup of tea with you and remind you that not only is your hope living, but you have a community around you who loves you and cares about you and wants to see the best for you. So let us know how we can be praying for you, and remember that we're here for you. You are not alone. We'll catch you in the next one. Like and subscribe if you want to, but also do if you don't.